Today, I'm going to talk about one very mysterious story that happened long time ago in my village. This story was actually told to me by my father, and since then it has been one story that I have never been able to forget or get off my mind. So, viewers' discretion is advised. If you know that you are scared of spooky stories or you are scared of the topics that concern ghosts and other strange apparitions, you might want to skip this one. Hi, this is African Stories, Legends and Myths, where we share stories, folklores and mysteries that are of African origin. If you are new here, welcome. Please feel free to hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so that you won't miss any of our weekly uploads. So now, let's get into it. Story is the story of Ni Ume, who was a renowned trader and farmer in my village. Ni Ume was known to always put her time and attention to her trade or to her farming, and this earned her the reputation of Wami Urazu, which in my dialect loosely translates to the woman who sells fish. She was not anyone, or she was not the kind of person to slack behind or slack back in anything that she did. So she always put her time in making sure that she sold the best of crops and the best of wares or any other food items you could see around the market. So in order to make sure this was possible, if she wasn't spending time on the shores buying fish, good fish, then she was probably in her farming from morning till night. While this earned her a very good reputation, it also had some criticism attached to it, as it seemed that she cared less about anything or any other social function apart from her farm and then maybe her family. But all the same, no one could complain much because Ni Ume was doing a good job. She was feeding the family and she was making money for herself. She was giving the people what they wanted, and everyone was okay. But one day, to everyone's shock, they began to realize that Ni Ume was not always going to the farm the way she used to. She now reduced it. Like, she literally reduced the way she went to the farm, and everyone was shocked, everyone was surprised, everyone was asking questions. They were curious as to why this event was occurring like this, because they knew Ni Ume. She wasn't the type to play around or joke around with her business. Rather, she was one who dedicated her time and every of her resource to making sure that her farm was spotless, like there were no weeds growing and her crops were thriving. So one day, a very concerned friend went to Ni Ume and discussed her findings with her, asking her what the issue might be and why she is not frequent in going to the farm again, which by now was visible in her business, because she went some days, she didn't go on some days, and she didn't stay from morning till night anymore. She just literally stayed from morning till maybe around afternoon or midday, or if she had to work late, once it was 3, she was out of there. And so Ni Ume began to tell her story. According to Ni Ume, on a fateful day, she woke up in the morning as usual and took all her farming implements to her large farm to, harvest some cassava, which she would later process and make into garri or fufu. She had done half of that work the previous day, so she was literally coming to complete the other half. Remember, she had a vast land, so it wasn't easy for her to carry out that work in just one day. Rather, it would actually have to take at least 2 days to make sure that the whole land was cleared of the crops. And Ni Ume, being a hard worker, was equal to the task. So she went to her farm on that day, and as usual, she began work, harvesting and harvesting and harvesting and harvesting. But then, after so much work, she found out that it was getting dark. This was literally around 6:37 in the night, or one may put it, but it was visibly dark at this point. So Niume decided, it was time for her to pack up and go home. After all, her other neighbors had long been gone, and it was only Niume that was in the farm. So she just packed up and decided to head out of her farm. But as she left her farm, she noticed something. Or while she was still at her farm, about to leave rather, she noticed something. She felt this strange presence that kept following her up and down, like she kept on feeling this strange presence. But she didn't make much of it and decided to just continue on her journey. So Niume continued going, she continued walking. But then, as she was going, or as she left the farm to begin her walk, she noticed that there was someone in front of her, and this person was just walking very fast. Niume didn't think much of it and decided, well, maybe it's just a random person, that is just going on their normal way. Let me just get home. So she kept walking and walking, and she noticed that this person was still in front of her. And it's not that this person was walking fast, the person was walking sluggishly. But when she began to notice that something was wrong, was that whatever turns she made was exactly where that person was turning to. If she decided that she needed to turn left, that person was actually turning left with her. And she also noticed that no matter how fast she tried to catch up with this person, given to the fact that she was the only one on the road, and it would be normal, or it would be a thing that she would want to pair up with this person, and they both can walk home. She tried to meet up with this person. She tried walking as fast as she can to meet up with this stranger that was in front. But it was as if the more she hastened her steps to get to this person, the further the person was from her. She kept walking, this person kept moving further and further and further. She couldn't just grasp the person, she couldn't just catch that person or meet up with that person. And this was strange, but she kept walking, and all this while, all this distance, they were still walking on the same path, but this person was literally in front of her. Then at some point, she was like, she was going to put in extra effort to walk as fast as she can to meet this person at the front. I do not know why she was curious to see whoever that was in front of her, but it's pretty understandable. So she tried walking as fast as she could. But this person kept getting further and further and further. But at the end of the day, she managed to walk as fast as possible, and even to a point where she even almost began running. And when she got to this person, when she was close enough, she managed to ask the person. She couldn't reach her hands to tap that person because she wanted to, reach out and tap this person, but she couldn't do that. So she just opted to speak to the person. At least the person was at ear shots, like she could say something and that person would literally get what she was saying. So she was like walking fast, and then when she got close, she was like, hey, good evening, please, who are you and where might you be going to? I've noticed that we have been walking the same roads, we have been having the same turns, so literally we are heading towards the same place. So please, where are you going to? Where are you headed? And just as she asked that question, just immediately she asked that question right in front of her, this person vanished. And at that point, Niume began to run. She began to run for her life because it was obvious to her that she had just encountered a spirit. She didn't know what the spirit was, she didn't know what it wanted, but she was scared for her life. She didn't even stand to process or to think about it. She instantly began to run as fast as she could, and luckily she got home safely, shut herself in her house, and that was it. Since that period, she swore not to walk late into the night. Once it was just 4 or 5, she was heading straight home. She wasn't going to spend any more time, and she wasn't going to wait till everyone had left the farm. She was just going to move when others were moving, and that was it. So when everyone heard the story, questions were being asked. Questions were being asked as to what exactly Naomi had seen. It has been alleged that Naomi had long passed, but the question still remained: who must it have been, or what was that thing that she saw while she was coming back from work? Well, in my place, legend has it that spirits that were not at rest, maybe people that were killed unjustly and had not had any form of justice or vengeance for their deaths, seemed to roam around, especially during the evenings, seeking for rest or any form of justice. And probably Naomi got an encounter with one of such restless spirits. These spirits are said to be very dangerous spirits and could react at any slightest provocation, as they are not happy and they are not rested. But luckily for Naomi, nothing of such happened to her. She just found out that these spirits or this ghost just disappeared immediately she asked the question. And she didn't see the face, or she didn't even recognize who the spirit was or what it was. And this might have actually played a role in saving her life, as it is believed that one was not supposed to see any of these spirits face to face. One was not to know or kind of figure out who these spirits were, because once you were able to do that, that would be the death of you. These spirits were not supposed to be seen. These spirits were not supposed to be known. If they were actually seen by peradventure, it is said that the best thing to do was to keep quiet and let them pass. Do not say a word. If it was possible for you to hide and remain as still and as silent as you can, that would be the best thing for you. So probably it is safe to say that Naomi was lucky, because these spirits were not benevolent spirits. These were bloodthirsty spirits that were just literally roaming around by that time of the night. And luckily, she learned her lesson and wasn't out late in very unusual places at night anymore. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the story. Once again, this is African Stories, Legends and Myths, where we share stories, folklores and mysteries that are of African origin. Once again, if you're new here, please leave a like, subscribe, and tell me in the comment section what you would love to hear. Which other stories, which other mysteries, which other folk tales, which other spiritual occurrences or gods or spirits would you like me to talk about in this channel? And once again, we post every week, so every week there is something new, there is something refreshing, and there is something to learn from and to enjoy. Till I see you same time next week. Bye.